All right, so now we're back. This is Cara Putman, and I'm here to talk with you about the internal journey. So we've talked about a couple of different external journeys and how you can follow the Michael Hague or the Susan May Warren approach, the Lindy Hop. Both of those are great ways to kind of structure your plot. But now let's turn to the internal. What's happening inside of the character? So Michael Hague and Susan May Warren have very similar approaches. We all have a longing, we have a need, we have a wound that is driving the way we think about the world, what we believe, what our fears are, and out of that fear grows our identity. And part of the journey of the book is pushing the character into their essence. This is where they're growing. So longing is a deeply held desire that the hero plays lip service to, that they are too afraid to go after. So this is a passage from Stephen James' first book in the Patrick Bauer files, The Pawn. And this is all about the relationship between him and his stepdaughter. And for reasons, he's the only parent because her mother died. And they'd only been together for about 2 years. And Tessa is this bitter, wounded 15 and 16-year-old girl. And this just shows you a lot about, he's going through, he wants to be a dad for her, but he just doesn't know how to do it. And so his need is, he wants to be a dad, he doesn't know how to do it, and so he's trying and she shuts down emotionally. And so this need is something that we might be able to articulate, but we're not sure. And so it may be stifled, they may not even recognize it, and it's a result of the wound. So what's that black moment? What's that one event that changed the world for your character? And so it may be that they were abandoned. It may be that they were abused. It may be something really simple that you look at and go, that's not such a big deal, but to your character, it was critical to their emotional formation. So you really have to drill down and go, okay, what is that wound? It could be a more recent event, but often it's going to be rooted in childhood. And it's usually around the adolescence time period, and it's such a point of pain that has completely changed how they view the world and themselves. And because of that, they've suppressed it because it's painful. And all of us like to avoid pain. We don't want to willingly walk into it. And yet this external journey is going to force them to really confront and evaluate the wound. And so out of that wound has grown a belief about the world and about themselves personally. And so they believe either I'm not worth it, nobody's ever going to love me because the people who were supposed to love me chose not to. The world's not safe because my dad was driving home and had a car accident. So I live in fear because the world's just not safe. But it's going to be a belief that's often rooted in some sort of fear. And so they're afraid of re-experiencing the pain of the past. They don't think they're strong enough. And that's going to create their responses to what's going on in their world. They're going to respond out of the fear that grows out of the need that grows out of the wound. So this allows you to start layering a lot of depth into your character, and it also allows the motivation for how they're going to respond to the external journey. Often a book will fall apart because there's not a connection there. And so if you really think about the inner journey, it's going to start revealing the goals and motivations of your characters. Now, if the idea of goals and motivations and conflict is a new one to you, then I recommend Deborah Dixon's book, Dixon, Goals, Motivations, and Conflict, GMC. It's a really great writing book that can help you kind of start peeling back some of this. Inside Out, the Susan May Warren book, also will really help you understand and kind of break apart this internal journey that then will motivate how the characters are going to act inside the external journey. So the identity is that emotional armor that we create around ourselves. We have, out of our fears and out of the lies that we've believed, have come to go, I have to be Superwoman. I have to be Wonder Woman. I can't rely on anybody else. And so I'm going to be strong in and of myself. And that's how they're responding to the fear. And the essence is the goal of where we're moving with this whole inner journey. We want to take that identity, that false identity that has grown out of the wounds and the hurts and the lies that we've believed or that our characters have believed, and transform that into a moment where they begin to know the essence. This is who I really am. I'm stepping into my true identity. Now, I've got a bullet I always get turned around here. Whoop, there. Nope. Okay, well, the lower bullet there. If I moved over here, nope. Anyway, that bullet over there. That talks about how this is really a powerful idea for Christian fiction, but I believe it works in all areas of fiction as well, because we're all, as individuals, on a journey of growth. And so when we move past a point of a lie that has trapped us and move into the truth, then that's a moment of freedom. And that's where a book can start speaking to the readers and through the journey of a character reveal truth to them. That's when it becomes powerful and real and moving, and a book that everybody talks about. Okay, so I've got some exercises for you in the workbook that I've posted. It's a PDF. So carefully think about your characters, and I would say you need to think about this for your hero, your heroine, and if they have opposite fears and wounds, that can create some great conflict. And then if you have strong secondary characters, it's a good idea to take the time to think about it related to them as well. And then think about, how are there ways I can specifically tie the inner journey to the external journey? And on his website, Michael Haig has a graphic that shows how the two overlap. And so I really encourage you to look at that, because it shows how the different plot points, then you can overlay the inner journey and have the two playing off of each other, which can become a really compelling way to keep the story moving. If you don't have enough conflict, if your story hits the middle and you're like, yeah, there's just not much happening, I would really look at your inner journey. That probably means you haven't forced the character into enough situations where they are pushed beyond themselves. And so that's an area I would start to look at. You could also look at, do you need to kill someone? Things like that. If you're writing a suspense or something, they always say kill a body when the tension dies. But there are a lot of other ways to create tension, and an inner journey, an emotional change will do that, especially when added into a romance and an external plot. All right? So that's the end of talking about the inner journey. Tune back, and I'll have a little bit about how to pull it all together.